Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina wa mawlana Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bimadadakum wa nazarakum Sayyidi ya Rasul Kareem. Ya Habib al-Azim. Anzur halana wa ishfalana. Biduni bimadadakum. Mahdi ya Sayyidi ya Sultan al-Awliya ma Shaykh Abdul Faiz al-Daghestani. Mahdi ya Sayyidi ya Sultan al-Awliya ma Shaykh Muhammad Nazim Haqqani. Madad Sultan al-Qulubina mawlana Shaykh Hisham Kabani. Madad al-Haqqi Hujjatullahi al-Mukhlas. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa ati'ullah wa ati'ur Rasul wa ulul amri minkum. And always a reminder for myself, and abdul ajiz, da'ifu, miskeen, zalim, jahal. And by the grace of Allah that I'm still here. Allah's rahmah inshaAllah be upon us all. That we took a path of being nothing and Allah tolerates all bad characteristics and egoistic characters, and we pray that Allah continue to dress us from His Divinely Rahmah and bring us closer and closer to the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad. And alhamdulillah, where we left off last time in the reality of numbers, and the numbers teach us a much higher reality than the kalam. It's an angelic code that's been written. This life is but a code. Anybody who knows anything about computers, a program has already been written, and that most people don't understand even the computer program they use at home. They think they're typing and the Microsoft Word is writing, but in reality it's a code, and that code has been already written anticipating everything you write, and it breaks down everything you write into a series of letters, condenses those letters from letters to letters and numbers to numbers, all the way to computer language which is 0, 1, binary code, machine language which nobody can communicate at that understanding. Everything Allah created is a isharat and a guidance for the people whom Allah described that, do you see my signs? Take a life in which to see the signs of Allah everywhere, in everything. In everything must be a sign of Allah. And awliyaullah come into our life and begin to teach us that the reality of the numeric code is an angelic programming. When Allah want you to understand heavenly programs, begin to open the heart towards the numbers and the understanding of these numbers. When we left off that if you meet the people of realities and the people of the Bab, Allah they said there are people of tafakkur, there are people of ahbab, of love, and there are people of the Bab, they guard a door. And one of those, because infinite darajats of understanding, one of those doors is towards these oceans of reality. That to meet one of those 9 Sultan al-Awliya or their representatives, they are like holders of the door. As soon as you sit into their association and as soon as you wish through your heart to reach, some come to the association for the wonderful food, for the camaraderie, the talking, the chatting, and there are some who come in their heart to reach Allah's realities, not to reach Allah not going to ever disclose the Divinely Presence, but to reach a way of marifah, a way of realities. Those whom Allah grant from that reality, they enter with their soul by these shaykhs, they take them into that halaqah. And introduce them into the reality of those awliyaullah, that those 9 awliyaullah we described before, from 1 teaching the oceans of oneness all the way to 9, the 9th shaykh is the sultan. the standing sultan of this entire dunya, when they describe this dunya, is not the earth, it's all of Allah's created creation. That can be seen is dunya, what cannot be seen is malakut. So not for only this earth has its representative, and the sultan is in charge of every creation of Allah under the Muhammadan authority, under the authority of Sayyidina Muhammad. Means then we left off at the 7, the Shaykh at position 7 is teaching, perfect your 4 elements, and the 3 which is your soul, perfect your soul and perfect your body, and you become and move towards the oceans of Kamil. And in Islam is represented by the star and the moon. Why the star and the moon is on the flag of Islam? Because it represents that reality, that the moon is your form, be like the moon. Not like the earth, be like the moon in which nothing is on it. Moon took a beating, has all these holes. So what were they throwing at this poor moon that it has holes like this? Not like the dunya, all glitzy and glamorous. Means use this dunya to move towards your akhirah reality. Don't put all your hopes and expectation on this dunya that it's going to be forever. Some people talk, they think it's going for 1,000 years, and they put all their hopes and expectations on this dunya. They want it to be disconnected from the heart and begin to teach that perfect your physicality, and the star is your soul. And that's why Prophet described that my companions are all najm, they're all stars. Any one of these stars you follow, you will be guided. For us then the highest reality is to bring the reality of the soul, and that soul if it reaches its reality and Allah grant it its eternity, it becomes a najm, a star. That's why when you look to the sun and everything, Allah says, I show you my signs on the horizon and within yourself. Within is harder to find than on the outside. On the outside I can see. Pious people come into our life and say, look at the sun. The sun is a symbol of eternity. Same sun Sayyidina Adam saw, and the same sun Sayyidina Muhammad saw, it's always been there. Make your life, your goal to be a star. You study a little bit about stars, and there are stars billions of times more powerful than this shams, which is unimaginable, billions of times in mass. So then imagine the companions, what mass they must have, what power Allah. Why Prophet to say that if it's not it's complete haqq, there must be an immense reality in every word that Prophet uses. Even every huruf of what Prophet uses is immense oceans of reality. That they're stars, giving a sharaf for us, be a star. If Allah grant you eternity, you be daim, oceans of hayat, you be forever. Your star will be granted, what they call a star is born. Immediately that light will shine and Allah granted an eternity, never to diminish, never to diminish. What power, what lights, what realities. So it means perfect the inner soul, perfect the form. If the form is perfected like the moon, the reality of the soul is perfected and begin to shine like a star. Then they take us to the ocean of 8, because that all simultaneously working. Ocean of 8 is the oceans of hayat. That if Allah is granting that you are perfecting your inside, your soul and the discipline of your soul, you perfect your outside in your form. That's why if you come across it's all a reality for us. Can you find somebody who claims that their soul is good but their form is corrupt? when Prophet is giving us the formula. No, it's not common. It's not reaching the perfection. If it's not reaching the perfection, it didn't reach the perfected lights that Allah want to give to it. So anyone damaging their form but say that their soul is good, something's wrong. So the Kamil and the Kamil Shaykhs are teaching us that form must be clean, must be kept clean, must be understood. It's a trust, it's not for you to mark it up, it's not for you to destroy it, to pierce it, to do what you want. It's like a rent-a-car, deliver what was given to you as a trust nicely back to Allah. Anyone who take a rent-a-car and decide he's going to go paint it and go change all the tires, take out the steering wheel and take it back, he's going to be sued by the dealership. So, I just came to me to do this, it wasn't yours to do that too. So then the Kamil, the four, they understand their elements, they're balancing all of their desires, continuously struggling. The different zikrs that will be given to them based on the different desires and the different elements. When the angelic element is becoming too strong and they're not able to function, then a fire will be given to them. The earth, everything within them, and Allah's Divinely breath, earth, wind, water and fire. These four elements, they have to master those elements. Like the avatar and his earthbender, waterbender, these are nice cartoons, they're good for using images. But this is the way of awliyaullah, that every element has to be balanced continuously with their zikr, with their practices, with their food, with their diet. With that and all their spiritual practices to reach the elements of perfection in the soul. If Allah grant that, He'd begin to dress them from the oceans of al-Hayat. And 8 is the ocean of eternity. The Shaykh at position 8 begins to teach them that Allah granting your soul to enter into the oceans of al-Hayat means He's granting you salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. He's going to dress you from Sifat ar-Rahim, alif lam ra hay mim. Rahim is the ra hay mim. So that sifat of Allah dress upon the servant means their soul been taken and thrown into the oceans of al-Hayat. They become eternal servants, that Allah grant to them their lights of eternity and begin to dress them from their lights of eternity, and that their eternal light is what they begin to function with. We said the difference between the association and this type of teaching is that these people are not operating like somebody who's doing a Jummah somewhere and that's all they do. These are people who operate from the oceans of al-Hayat, means they have reversed a formula and they operate from their soul and their paradise reality on earth. Maut qabla al-maut means that in their khalwa and seclusion Allah deemed them dead, that you've been tested. When you reach to these levels in your seclusion, you've been granted that you're dead. We don't need to actually keep you dead, your family waiting for you out, and Allah has a mission for you. But at that time they are prepared that, Ya Rabbi, I don't need to go anywhere, I'm very satisfied in what state I'm in. And Allah no, you return back. Means you're operating from your soul and not from your body. When they operate from their soul means all of the tajalli of their soul is on top of their body. They hear with their soul, they see with their soul, they feel with their soul, they move, talk and walk with their soul. These people of Hayat, that everything from their paradise reality. Why do people feel energies in their association? It's not your energy, it's their soul fills the room. If they begin to release their soul in a hal, everybody will become magnetized and energized. You have to have patience for these understandings. For people who are very limited in their mental capacity, they become agitated quickly. That was polite, huh? That was nice. Limited in your mental capacity and you become agitated quickly. Was what Sayyidina Khidr was saying. How are you going to have patience with something that your knowledge is not complete? We can't imagine. People use their body like a box, that's it. Are you kidding? Imagine the immensity of the soul. If Allah begin to say, you're going to operate from your soul, how big is that soul? If they go into a hall and see their soul, they can see all the earth and the moon in their hand. Because you don't know the size of this entire universe compared to what the size of a soul. But if Prophet gave him, my companions are like suns. Have you seen our planet compared to a sun? This sun, forget about the sun billions of times. The sun is this big, the planet is a nuqt, is a dot, is an epsilon in the presence of the sun. Then you understand how big the Sahabi soul is? When the earth is a drop in their hand. Because Prophet said, my companions are stars. If you look at just one star, say just this sun, maybe he's not the other suns that are 10 billion times larger, all the earth is a speck and a dot. So when that Sahabi's soul opens, the earth becomes a dot on his hand. So imagine the immensity and the power of the soul. They operate from the reality of their soul. Their sustenance comes to them from their paradise reality. Means anybody operating from their soul, their food, their water, their drink, their sustenance, their rizq is not anymore from this dunya. Allah provides for them. Allah provides for them their rizq, their sustenance. Allah provides for them their food, their water, their drink. Means by their du'a everything changed to their paradise reality. That's why if you eat with them, you eat from their paradise reality. Things that you have not achieved in your life yet. When you eat with them, you eat from their paradise reality. The ni'mat that Allah giving to them in paradise, it's coming onto the earth on their table. You drink with them, you're drinking from their paradise reality. You do zikr with them, you're in their paradise reality. Allah describes khuluqul mashkoon, this was a different talk. They are loaded ships. As soon as their soul comes out, it grabs every soul like a speck. It grabs every soul and begins its ascension towards Divinely Presence, faster than a blink of an eye. So there's a big difference. Someone who's not operating from their soul can't even explain what the soul is, versus somebody who operates from their soul. Means their light comes out like a ship for people just to understand. Anyone in that proximity or watching, doesn't matter by time and space is of no concern to them, immediately their soul like an ascension lifts every soul with it into Divinely Presence. That concept of an airplane, you board, the pilot he flies and takes everybody. For me and you to walk would be ridiculous. So people whom don't accept tariqahs, don't accept what Allah dressed upon His khawas, not normal people, whom the elite of Allah's Divinely government, Divinely Presence, they're like rocket ships, faster than ships, faster than a boat, faster than a plane. Just enter into their presence, their soul, it is Safinatul Najat, it knows where it's going, it doesn't need any direction. Immediately their practices begin and their soul lifts everything. And that's the energy and the abundance of energy that everybody feels, whether here or at a distance, it doesn't make a difference for them. This is oceans of Hayat. Then that servant, when they're trained with their energy, understanding their energy, understanding how to bring that energy out and how to bring that energy back, how to turn on and how to turn off, they'll be handed to the shaykh at position 9, which is the Sultan al-Awliya. At that time the Sultan al-Awliya teaches them the perfection of annihilation. That the 9 and the numeric reality of 9 teaches us submission. 9 is submission, 9 is the sultan of numbers. Ninth month, the month of Ramadan, is the month of submission. Only through fasting you can achieve that perfect submission, nothing through your amal, except Allah says, don't do any amal and fast and I annihilate everything, and I'll grant you to be like a nuqt, to be like a dot. All of what you're trying to manifest yourself, return yourself to your state of nothingness. Why the sultan is 9? Because he's the master of nothingness. He's been humiliated, he's been smashed and effaced. Out of all 124,000 awliyaullah, he's the one been most crushed, most humiliated, until he became nothing, nothing, nothing. Not as far as your eyes see, but in the reality in which Allah dressed them into a state of their nothingness. As a result they are the master and the position of 9. As soon as that servant is dressed by that sultan begin to take them, now travel with us in the way of 9. Travel with us in the way of 9. So their circle prepares us to enter 9. Now they travel through the Holy Qur'an. The Sultan al-Awliya takes the souls of whom Allah once guided, says, now you're going to come through our 9. The first 9, Bab al-Tawbah is Surah al-Tawbah. The 9th surah of Holy Qur'an where there is no Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Why? Because you're making zabiyah. This is the secret of the Zulfiqar. Imam is the keeper of this gate, he is the sultan of this gate, the sword of this gate. All this teaching is from Imam. The teaching of this gate and the Zulfiqar, that now we're going to teach you to completely lose your head, no more excuses for yourself. There's no Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, just Bismillah Allahu Akbar is finished for your head. And come into this Bab Tawbah, and they begin to take you from 9 to 18 to 27 to 36, all the surah numbers. And every month is one of those tajallis. So the first month is Bab Tawbah 9, the second month is 18 Ashab al-Kahf, third month Surah al-Nam and the Sultanate of Sayyidina Sulaiman. Fourth 9 is 36 and Surah al-Yasin, the heart of Divinely Presence. And our life becomes a journey in their oceans of reality, and what they want for us to understand of that reality. And that anything that multiplies, and the concept of multiplication for Allah is fana. All these are for what? What Allah cares for the numbers of dunya. But why that reality? It was for fana. So I ask you, why you have to go and sit with them and why you have to annihilate yourself? I said, because the numeric code shows that. That if you multiply yourself with anyone else, you just become another product. And the secret of multiplication was the fana, and all our life is based on that. That if a man comes and multiplies himself with a woman, a new creature will come, something new will be born. But if a person multiplies himself with his reality, a new reality will be born. When his body and his soul reach their real reality and come together, maqam al-ihsan, and a child will be born from the stations of perfection. When we say Sayyidina Ibrahim represents the body, Sayyidina Hagar represents the soul, And Sayyidina Ismail represents maqam al-ihsan. Throughout Qur'an Allah are showing these examples. And multiplication is fana, that when you multiply yourself and fuse yourself with someone, a new reality will come. And the multiplication with the fana of the sultan means that the reality of 9 begins to open. Anything that multiplies itself with 9 remains a 9. Means the highest Muhammadan representative, the highest Muhammadan perfection is if you're a 2 or a 6 or a 20 and you multiply by 9, every product of 9 goes back to 9. 18 becomes 1 and 8 becomes 9, 27 becomes 2 and 7 becomes 9, 3 and 6 and everything multiplied by 9 goes back to 9. That's why then the Sultan and awliya is the one whom is given that permission. When they begin to make their tafakkur and their contemplation and they're mimicking the reality of Prophet asking to be in the fana of Prophet, the fana into the perfection will make a version of the perfection and they produce a whole bunch of 9s because of their reality. Anything that comes to them and perfected through them will be brought out into that reality. If they reach the station of submission in 9 and reach to be nothingness, they're now prepared to be taken into the presence of 10. 10 is the binary code. There's no way to enter into Allah's binary code without learning to be off and on. And this was the different poetry. When they're seeking Allah, I'm seeking Allah, who's there? It's me ya Rabbi, okay go away. Means you still are a one, you still think you're something. Then realize later in life, oh I can't do that, I have to be nothing. Began to seek Allah, say, who's there? Say, you ya Rabbi, I don't exist anymore. This is the binary code. As long as in life you want to approach and you want to think it's you that's approaching and that you have some significance, you're on. And there's no shareek with Allah, there's no way to be on in that Divine Presence. So this whole path was to make that person to understand taslim, to be nothing. So the 10 teaches you to be a nuqta, dot, that you're nothing. When you're nothing and you move into the presence of the Divinely Presence, Allah is on, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi aliyyil azim, is a qudra that can come and dress the soul. As soon as Allah sends an energy and a might and a power upon the soul, from where? Atiullah, atiya Rasul wa ulul amri minkum. Their ulul am that are above them are taking these tajallis and sending it. Every time you reach your state of off, they send the tajalli and bring you to be on and teach you that when you're on, go back off. Don't stay on because then we can't give you more because you're trying to be on. So their entire life is about on, off, on, off, on, off. Every reality we have in this dunya is from that binary code. So everything and everyone is benefiting from that binary code. Allah meant it for the heavens to take that understanding and reach towards your paradise reality. From 10 and understanding nothing and being on and off is the 11. The 11 is to reach into the Divinely Mirror. That in the state of being on you will be a reflection of that reality. For La ilaha illallah is on, and the only one to reach that reality is Muhammadun Rasulullah. So means Allah eternally on and Prophet eternally on. So this state of 11 and mirroring, that is the reality of all the satellites, they mirror. And what awliyaullah want from us is mirror. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Qaddasallahu Sirru is the symbol of that reality, that you want to reach to Allah's qudra and power, mirror. That's why when they draw the huruf, draw Islamic art, they put hu wa hu. They mirror the two names together. The hu of Allah is not for us, but that that reality of Allah is reflecting to Prophet. What reflects to Prophet, then Prophet turns and begins to mirror to awliyaullah. So what comes to Prophet reflects to awliya. They mirror that like a satellite. Then these 124 based on their darajat, they take from that tajalli, and then the one below them they're mirroring that tajalli upon that one, and they take from that. So a whole series of mirrors, they're taking tajallis and coming down, taking tajalli. You can't take from the top boss, although your ego like to think that you can. So I'm from there, I talk only about that shaykh, I don't talk about this shaykh, because the ego thinks that it's taking from above them. Is impossible. Even deeper realities, the image of Prophet that many people begin to see is the Muhammadan dress of that wali. There's nobody that can see the pure perfected image of Prophet except the one who's the Qaws of the time. The Qawsul Azam right now is the one who looks to the face of Prophet direct, he's the top mirror. But every other wali down is trickling the image of the Muhammadan dress. They have a paradise for them all in their Muhammadan dress. So that's why when you come into their presence many begin to have visions of Prophet and dreams of Prophet. No, but it's the dress of that guide that's reflecting out to people under their Muhammadan dress. We pray that Allah give us more and more understanding of His Divinely Kingdom, Divinely Lights and the love of Sayyidina Muhammad بِأَشْرَفِ النَّبِي بِحُرْمَةِ Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi Surat al-Fatiha.
سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي